everybody on the panel will give us some key takeaways. Take a minute or two to do it. And I would like to start, I would like to run it in the order of a presentation. So, Jonathan, we're going to call on you to kick it off. Some key takeaways for us?
Sure, thanks, Sal. So here's my first. So the goal of statistical sampling is to use a sample to learn something about the population. Number two, the most important concept, in my opinion, in sampling is sampling fluctuation or sampling error. This is the notion that different samples will produce different estimates of the population parameter. Knowing this, it's important to express any results we get using some measure of uncertainty, such as the margin of error. Number three, the most important determinant of uncertainty in sampling is sample size. That's been a big theme today. And number four, when designing a sampling plan, work backwards. How do you and the other side expect to use the sample in the end? Answer this question and plan accordingly. Thanks.
Thank you, Jonathan Bork. Melissa Patoulis, please go ahead. Melissa Patoulis.
Hi. My first takeaway would be that statistical sampling is a powerful tool where its value really lies in making your research more time and cost efficient. My second takeaway is that there's case law out there that discusses sampling, but in practice, we see that sampling is used by both plaintiffs and defendants, and it's used across many different types of cases. And my third takeaway is that you should remember that sampling is a specialty within the area of statistics, and expertise is needed not only to design a sample correctly, but also to calculate the sample estimates, the margins of error, and the confidence intervals.
Thank you, Melissa Patoulis. And now we'll turn to John Farr for a couple of minutes of his key takeaways.
Yeah, so I think that that Melissa and Jonathan have covered the main areas, regarding sample size and errors and all that. But I think that the three cases that I talked about, the Tyson case, the Duran case, the Espenshai case, the thing that really came out of those and the decisions was this whole topic of representativeness. And that seemed to be a really big theme in all the decisions, whether they came out in favor of the plaintiffs or came out in favor of the defense. And under that umbrella, you have all kinds of other things going on, like selection bias and non-response and some of the other topics that we've talked about today. But it seems like in the context of a class action, that really just keeping in mind the idea of when you're sampling and representativeness seems to be really key in the decisions that I've looked at today. So thank you.
Thank you, John Farr. And let's round out here with Gorkan I. Gorkan, some key takeaways.
Thank you. My first and main takeaway is that the sample size doesn't change much for populations larger than about 20,000 members, and the benefit of increasing the sample size after a certain point is minimal. And my second takeaway is that the sample size mainly depends on the choice of appropriate sampling technique, which is mainly determined by the specific questions that need to be addressed. Thank you.